crazy driving as what we're seeing now. So at this point, officers are saying that they don't know how many people are in the car, but again, this is the LAPD's Hollenbeck division in pursuit of a possible stolen car.
That a red Dodge? It's red, isn't it?
Absolutely, Kathy. And usually at this time of the night is when most people are headed east, and that's exactly
all right, people.
Eastbound here on the
been a minute.
Freeway. And again,
we got Eliana Moreno on the call here.
Was in the Hollenbeck area of the
boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go, Jason. Where are we? 60 eastbound, 60 westbound. It says eastbound on the screen. I think we're 60 westbound. Monterey Park, LAPD in pursuit. Eliana Moreno, News Chopper 4 in the air. 6:16 p.m. Pacific time, west coast of the United States, as we continue in an XL Dodge Charger here that wanted as a stolen vehicle. I'll lay out for a couple seconds, let Eliana catch you up to speed.
On the eastbound 60 freeway coming up now to Paramount Boulevard.
Okay. Well, we have a minute. Well, Eliana, I assume there's going to be breaks in between her coverage because we're in the 6 o'clock news hour, and this is being covered live on News Channel 4 in Los Angeles.
There are a number of LAPD units behind this person, and I'm just going to push in real quick. I want to see if they've swapped. No, so it's still LAPD's Hollenbeck division in pursuit of this driver. But we did hear that CHP was requested. Now, that request comes in because the driver's on the freeway, and the CHP is the
tailgating this other Dodge Charger right in front of him here in lane number 1, trying to pass, probably either stay on the freeway or get off. No median there to worry about, but LAPD in pursuit, CHP being requested by the helicopter. What's up, everyone? Welcome in, welcome back. Sorry I can't get to everybody's names. That is resubscribing to the channel. You are much appreciated. A quick update. We are going to have Pursuit Tree merchandise available here shortly. Top left corner of your screen. birdsintheair.com. Not up yet, but will be in the foreseeable future. This is a stolen Dodge Charger.
Because something like a pit maneuver is just out of the equation with these speeds and with these
there we go. We are now live NBC4 on the Legacy Network and over the air once you get the graphics pop like that.
What lane is this person going to be in order to deploy a spike strip in front of him? And so at this point, your guess is as good as mine. This guy has been all over the roadway using every lane possible just to get by. So at this point, all officers can really do is just continue to
there was no chase
from the ground and the air. But it could get
did see the highlights of the Houston chase, yeah. I don't think it was only live for a couple of minutes. It was at the very end, but that was pretty intense. As we continue here, 60, we are eastbound, headed towards the San Gabriel Valley. Eliana on the call for those of you just joining us.
And that's when police can swoop in.
Ooh, I always feel so badly for these other drivers on the road right now. We just
swerving through traffic here between lanes 1, 2, 3. It looks like 5 lanes on the 60 eastbound. We should be east of downtown, away from the 10. For those of you that don't know, there's a serious traffic issue currently in Los Angeles right now. Part of the 10 freeway at the bottleneck, just north of Downey, Whittier, and Norwalk. Arson occurred and it almost brought down the bridge. Should be reopening next Tuesday, but it's causing all sorts of traffic around the city. As far down as Long Beach, as far out as the San Gabriel Valley. All of these highways are having to take the congestion of 300,000 vehicles that pass over that part of the 10 freeway in Los Angeles daily on each side. Those cars are now having to go elsewhere. So everything has had backup traffic. Hopefully will be fixed by next week.
They'll be able to get them at some other point because at this point it's just too dangerous.
Yeah, they burn through a lot of the columns that are keeping the bridge up, but they don't have to demolish. They don't have to demolish it. They're repairing it.
Maybe without the driver being so aware of it.
Yeah, correct. So the helicopter, even though you don't see a night sun, they would be able to just keep an eye on it and just let officers.
That's crazy. It gets this dark this early. 6:19 is usually pretty bright.
But without it being officially a pursuit. So that is an option. Essentially, pretty much like what we're doing now. We're just continuing to keep our eye on it without this being an active pursuit. But it seems like it's working. I mean, he's at least slowing down a little bit. He's about 30 miles an hour, probably not by choice because there's just a lot of traffic, but at least we're not seeing as many erratic lane changes as he continues eastbound on the 60 freeway. Next freeway coming up.
Yeah, opens next Tuesday.
It's always so challenging, though, I would imagine, to know when to pull back because at least when the officers are behind, other drivers have some sense of warning about what's going on. You know, the other drivers can hear lights and sirens and maybe react accordingly. Now you have this driver who's continuing to kind of weave and make some erratic moves, albeit not as bad as we saw earlier.
Yeah, so this is a lot better than what we saw.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're completely right. When you see those units chasing the vehicle, or when you see the
Well,
spotlight
remember when
from the
all the power
helicopter,
was knocked
it at least
out and
lets
you were
know that
streaming in a
this is
gas
pursuit,
station
and I
parking
should
lot
probably
off the
move out of
public
the way.
Wi-Fi?
But
I do,
in
like
this
it was
case,
yesterday.
There's really no indication for anybody
I was
else
during a
knows,
nor'easter
to know
in
that this
Connecticut.
person,
No
was
power
just
in the
vehicle
entire
pursuit.
county for
But
like
it looks
5,
they're
6
setting up
days.
to go on the 605. So let's see if they
Except
make
for
a
gas
change
stations.
here at the very last second. But for now, setting up to get onto the 605 freeway, and just a little bit more.
Dope feeling,
info, this
we're all
may actually be a woman
sickos. Got
who's
more than
behind the wheel.
1,000 of
That's
them
what we're
here.
hearing.
Looks like
Possible female
1,400 of
driver,
you right now,
unknown
currently.
number of occupants inside.
Okay, very interesting.
Plenty of sickos abound as we continue here eastbound 60 freeway. Stolen pickup Dodge Charger XL version, female driver.
One woman as the driver of this truck.
Correct. Yeah, that's the initial information that's coming in, is that it's possibly a woman, but unknown if there's anybody in there with her. She is setting up for the 605 North. And
Okay, 605 northbound. 605 northbound, gonna take us, correct me, LA people, of my Cayuga Pass, potentially.
Pursuit, and they're going to keep tabs on this driver, who fortunately has slowed down significantly here. And now getting onto the northbound 605 from the 60.
605 obviously will merge into the major 5 interstate at some point if we're headed northbound.
Looks like a night sun now, doesn't it?
That would be the night sun,
Yeah,
my
that's a nice
friends.
one, but I'll show you how far we are. So that's basically the end
DJ
of my
Ryerson in the
that's
chat,
where,
giving out
Yeah,
subs.
so we're pretty far here. I'm going to zoom back in
Unsolicited
here,
as
the
usual.
car.
W's in the
And
chat
so
for the guy who continues to give,
because,
without a
they're
doubt, the
running
most
normally.
in this
I mean, pretty
community.
much with the flow of traffic here, about 50, 55 miles an hour. Northbound on the 605 freeway, north of the 60.
What did I say,
And,
Cayuga? Listen, there's
fortunately,
Cayuga and
even though the
Cahuenga.
night sun is on the vehicle, it seems
There's
like this
2 of them,
person
and I always
is
pronounce it
still
incorrectly. It's
driving relatively calm compared
Cahuenga.
to what we first witnessed.
Cahuenga Pass.
But there's not going to be any units behind the vehicle, because of course when there were units behind the car, that's really when this person got desperate. But lots of traffic here, so let's see if some of that desperation starts to set in once again.
Yeah, you are seeing
DJ
a lot of
Ryerson is
traffic,
giving
but it does seem
out about
like they've
100
already
subs on this
started
damn
backing
channel
off and
to
not,
all of
you
the
know,
ad
getting
complainers.
right on the tail of this
Y'all
truck.
owe
He
him more
has
than you owe me.
eased it. So now they would just follow it with the helicopter and then
He's 2 behind TXT for all-time lead. Looks like the feed went to helicopter only.
Yeah, so at this point, with it being a stolen car, they really don't know who this person is. Normally, they could just run the plates on a vehicle and you'd get back the registered owner's information.
That's why a lot of these stolen vehicle pursuits people, they stick with them. Because usually, if it's not a reported stolen vehicle, they just get the plates and we'll go get them later. Let them go and we'll get them when they arrive to their house or something. But a stolen vehicle means that the person driving it is not registered to the license plates. And it will be a lot more difficult to find this car, wouldn't it, if it was reported stolen? Makes a lot of sense.
Of some sort, hard to tell. But it's also unclear how long this person has had this vehicle. Is this a vehicle that they've
Sir
been driving
420,
in,
appreciate you.
for a
Whoa,
while,
Chief
pretty
of
much
Stiff
when they
Arms just
owned
gave
it?
out a
Or
whole bunch of
was this
subs
just
as
a
well,
type of opportunity
going around, and
today
it's
where they
contagious
were
in the
able to have
community right now.
information
Almost
to take off? So at this
10
point,
subs went
all of
out
that is unclear to us,
to
and
people
we're
here
working
in
to get some
the
more
chat. W's in the
information, but
chat
for
for,
now,
what's your name?
helicopter
Chief
only
of
pursuit here,
Staff
northbound on
MS
605,
1966.
north of the,
I don't know what that
coming up
means,
to
but we
Valley Boulevard.
appreciate you.
Oh yeah, they will notify CHP, and they can do exactly that. It's something called the Code 100, where they let the CHP units go up ahead, because there may even be an opportunity to deploy a spike strip, especially if this person stays in the same lane the way that they have been here for the last couple miles. It really would be a great opportunity to do that. At this point, a pit maneuver is still out of the question.
These things can be pit. Eliana keeps going to the you can't pit XL Dodge Chargers. They can be pit, but you need one of those bigger cruisers, and then you can latch into the back left quarter panel with it and drive through it. I've seen it a couple of times, but you do need a bigger one for sure. Pup's doing good. Pup's in the other room sleeping.
Absolutely, and you have to time it just right. You have to guess what lane they're going to be in, and you need to be able to.
Are we still talking about pitting on the freeway?
Right in time to be able to get the driver to run over the strip.
We've seen a pit on the freeway once.
Immediately disable the vehicle. It will slowly start to deflate those tires. And depending on how many tires a car has,
Keep asking where I am. I'm home for Thanksgiving.
It literally took about 12 hours, even after running over spike strips, just because of the number of tires. But a smaller vehicle like this would deploy rather quickly. But again, northbound on the 605 here, and the 605 will come to an end. It comes to an end at the
605. Oh, we're going southbound on the 605. That's interesting. Okay. So 605 start taking us towards,
the police helicopters.
not really towards Downey. It's going to kind of skip Downey and go towards, I believe, Orange County, Anaheim. Is that the freeway, guys, that, those of you that are from the Inland Empire, is that the freeway that goes around, like, towards Temecula? One of those does.
Yeah, but picking up a little bit of speed, I'm noticing. So now we're getting into the 80s or so.
But this is definitely in the same direction.
I do notice that there's like
I thought we were going northbound.
Here, and I'm not exactly sure which one it might be, but it is coming up here very soon. It might actually be Ramona Boulevard, where I do see a lot of traffic right at the off-ramp.
Got some traffic coming up here, people.
Slows her down here for at least a minute here as we enter now Irwindale. So here's that exit I was just talking about. I could see that there was a lot of traffic there just waiting to exit, but she's staying further to the left here. So
all roads do lead to
really
Downey.
Be a factor at this point. But again, this started out in
you know cars, my friend.
LAPD. That's essentially the Boyle Heights, East LA area. We first heard about it on surface streets. The driver was on Whittier Boulevard, which is a very busy street. And she was able to work her way over.
Granola says these chases over time have helped me learn my LA geography.
I was really nervous.
Right?
Initially, police officers on the scanner.
You guys know all the cities of the LA metro area, even if you've never been here before. We're in Irwindale right now, by the way.
It was just a mistake, and she was actually going eastbound on the
It is,
60.
right? Doesn't it?
Her way now onto the northbound 605 and is now in Irwindale.
Yeah, what we need is 210 West to get us back towards downtown. We don't want to be going over things like any pass. Cayuga Pass, Cahuenga Pass, Newhall Pass, all of those. The Laurel Canyon one. What's that one called? I have to get up to speed on my which pass is for which part of which freeway. But we want usually them to go westbound and to stay out of LAX airspace. The further eastbound and north we go, there is a limit, especially at night, how far the helicopters can stick with it. So, yeah. Yes, I am playing with poker chips. Is this your first time?
Not since they backed those units off of the LAPD, they backed those units off. It's really gotten a lot better. And I'm just going to quickly say I am now hearing that CHP is the agency that is in pursuit. I just found it on the scanner, so it is CHP Baldwin Park that is now actively in pursuit of this vehicle, but helicopter only.
Right? The graphics are like half the time they're right. Some people think he's going 605 northbound. If we're in Irwindale. Okay, well, we're trying to pass right now on the shoulder, and that's that replica Dodge Charger, white Dodge Charger right in front of him, would not let him go to the shoulder. That was interesting. We're in tracking mode, helicopter only, according to Eliana. Night sun. This person obviously knows they're being followed because they're being blasted with a night sun like they're standing outside of fucking Chernobyl, man. Night sun just radiates light. It is so bright. Commenter says, these chases in GTA 5 make me think I could get around all of Los Angeles, and I've never been there. I gotta finish playing GTA 5. I'm a third of the way through it. I don't know why I stopped. Baldwin Park to Irwindale, that means they're going north. Okay, I tend to agree with you, even though it says southbound. Especially if there was a 210 interchange coming up. The 10 is way above the entry point on the 605. So that would certainly reinforce that this is a northbound chase, not a southbound chase. Might have ourselves a little marathon here. Not mad about it. Nothing else going on tonight. There's plenty of backup streams too. We got ABC out there and KCal, SkyCal, but we'll stick with Eliana despite, as we know, NBC's helicopter being the 2007 Cleveland Cavaliers. The technology she's been equipped with. This is a decent picture though, but you don't really notice the difference until you see ABC and KCal's quality of camera lens. And the signal just always craps out on NBC too. It's like she's using 3G. What are my thoughts on Christmas music? Not allowed to be played until the day after Thanksgiving.
Thank you to everyone who continues to watch here online on WBCLA.com and all of our streaming platforms. I'm Eliana Marino in News Chopper 4, alongside my pilot James Pollard.
Might be getting off here, or this might be an interchange. Let's find out. We are in Valley Duarte. This definitely feels like an off-ramp. We've now made 2 rights. Picking up crazy speeds. Maybe it's an interchange. I have no clue. We're going to find out here. We're still doing 50. That would be an intersection. That was a yellow light. Now what? 210 westbound. Just past it. So we were headed north.
Yeah, back with you guys here. And just as we were coming on air here, the driver exited from the westbound 210 freeway onto Mountain Avenue. So she was traveling on the northbound 605 and made that transition to go west.
We're just kind of blending in at the moment. And she might be trying to find... Oh, right. So we're going under potential Paul Walker challenge. Hopefully we pop out the other side of this bridge. Where are you?
I'm going to keep a wide shot because I don't want her to fool me because she might...
Where are you? She's under the bridge. Paul Walker, what did I just say?
Still under the freeway from what we can tell.
Is that her?
You've, of course, got the police helicopter over.
Might be her. She just pulled out Eliana's.
Where he last saw the car, but I can't tell you how many police pursuits we've covered where this is where they end. The driver will ditch the car under the freeway, take off running, or sometimes some people do.
Did she just pop out? Eliana, too.
Really bad friends in this case.
There it is. Okay, this female driver tried a Paul Walker challenge. Was thinking about it, man. Every time that we approach a bridge like that, they gather their thoughts and they decide if they want to try and swap vehicles or maybe eject Ojito. Every time, here comes all these damn pursuit trees in the way. Could have maybe gotten people out of the car.
It was unclear how many people were in the car initially. We were told it was.
We don't know if anyone got out.
Police didn't know if anyone else was in there with her. I'm wondering if that minute that she spent under the freeway was enough time for some of her...
We're just going through the red light now. She still knows she's being chased. So that was a solid red light. We are still going. We are in the upper San Gabriel Valley, approaching the 210. We're around the 210 in the 605. This feels like we're getting back on. Oh, yep, just saw the red and blue highway sign. We're getting onto something. My guess is the 210.
And of course, what's most helpful out of everything is that night sign here from the police helicopter that continues to light up this vehicle. And again, no units behind the car. There were units initially, though, when my pilot Jim and I arrived overhead.
We don't want to go eastbound, people.
The LAPD's Hollenbeck division that were in pursuit. But this person was driving so erratically that officers simply had to back off. And for a moment,
somebody asked in the chat what happened to Stu Mundell. He does the morning shift.
Everyone often including the helicopter, but a helicopter was eventually called back to the scene. So this
Got the
is
bag, took the
helicopter
money,
will only
and he's just
send.
off the air because
That
there's no
doesn't mean that
chases
there
in the
aren't
morning.
ground units waiting to swoop
So
in
he's
if
kind of
this
lost
comes
his
to an end.
prestige.
All of the
Oh,
officers
just
who
that's one thing
patrol
that
this area,
I love about LA freeways.
are being
They put
advised
which
of the
freeway that you're going to be
location so
merging
that
on
the car
because there's
wouldn't
so many
stop.
lanes onto the
This is
pavement.
moving for the
So you
arrest.
saw in that lane number 1, that means you were getting onto the 605. You move over to lanes like 2, 3, and 4. That takes you to the 210, and then maybe lane number 5 would take you to like the 605, the opposite direction of lane number 1.
As you said, just a lot of objects in the back of that bed. Again, this a stolen pickup truck. That's the report that's coming in. But again,
Getting off here
driving as
quickly.
well. And we've seen some close calls. Again,
Okay.
here's another lane change, Juliana.
Yeah, and just real quickly, I want to say it looked like she was set up to stay on the 210,
Yeah.
and at the very last second made that change to go back on the southbound
Asian-
605.
what's up?
So we're essentially
Asian
gonna move back
persuasion.
towards, the area where this began,
9.
I'm thinking, because she's essentially just reversing course here. So back on the southbound 605 this time around. So going to be passing by all of those areas that we passed by before. The first one, of course, being Irwindale here. But speeds have slowed down a lot, which is a good thing. We're looking at speeds. Less
Merch
than
quality,
speed.
fantastic.
Traffic isn't bad either. I'm just looking up ahead.
Where are we now?
She's only going slow right now because she's behind a big rig. But really, she has every other lane she could pick because really traffic through this area at this time is not that bad.
It is
Usually
allegedly
it
a
gets
female
worse
driver,
as you
yes.
approach the Pine Freeway, but we've still got a long ways to go before we get
Okay,
that
so
far.
it is 605
Do you
southbound.
think it's obvious to the driver that the night
This will
sun
merge with
from
the 5 at some
helicopter
point.
is shining down, or might she just think, well, I've got some good visibility out here?
Yeah, I would think that she would know that this is a police helicopter that is shining the light. And when she did get under the freeway there, back under the 210 freeway, when
I have seen
she
this
was
version of
under
the
there,
Dodge Charger.
police
It's
helicopter
XL.
got even
We see
lower
this all
than,
the time.
normally would fly. So that would have been a dead giveaway
Yeah.
for her to know that she's being followed at least via
Yeah,
helicopter.
Panther
But
Finn.
of
See,
course, no
my
ground units
my
directly behind.
audience is
So what is essentially
evolving.
called
A lot of you
surveillance is working.
pull up Flight
Usually,
Radar 24,
when,
as I have it up
driving
in the
to a
background on an
route,
iPad
the
as well,
watchman
where you can
will
watch the
determine
radar,
if it's best to just
and you
back
can see all the
those cars
helicopters
off
and
let the
their
helicopter
trails.
do it alone in hopes that the driver will
I'll pull it
slow
up.
down.
I just-
And we
I'm out
have
of
witnessed
screens
that
right
this,
now.
At least in this particular case, it does appear to be working.
But
because the
Flight
driver
Radar
is at least
24,
staying in
and then go
one
to
lane
like,
for the most
yeah,
part.
the Irwindale area,
Of
and you'll see a
course,
whole
with
bunch of helicopters that
Yeah,
are
speeds
flying parallel. That's where,
ticking up
those are
just a
all the
little
news
bit,
helicopters
but
following the
definitely
chase.
We're right along with what you would expect in normal traffic. People certainly do drive this fast on the freeways, especially heading home after a day's work. I'm just wondering if we're going backwards now, if we're doing what we've done so many times before and heading back to where it all started.
Yeah, typically what we've noticed just with police pursuit behavior from some of the people that are involved in these things is that they tend to return to an area that is familiar to them. And when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. When you go back to an area that you know well, you're not going to drive accidentally into a dead end. You may have friends or family that live in the area where you could ditch the car and take off running into a house. You're going to know where the parking structures are where you could also ditch the car and take off running. So it does give you more opportunity to try to get away. So we do notice that that happens quite often. At this point, if that's the goal, she is headed back in that direction, headed southbound out here on the 605. But my pilot, Jim, was just saying,
Okay.
because the person...
Oh, this is crazy. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 helicopters. You guys aren't going to be able to see this, but
And here you go. So exactly what he said would happen is what we're seeing now.
all those yellow dots are different media in LAPD helicopters following the chase. Look, see how they all just in unison turn to the left? That's because this guy got off, or this girl got off.
And how often do you see them do that? Switch from the
Southbound, now we're going westbound, now headed back northbound. You're going to see that those yellow dots, you can watch on Flight Radar.
So usually
There are
it
6
would be
total
very
choppers,
rare
birds in
when
the
they
air
turn
right
the lights
now.
on for them to turn them off, but it could be a situation where that CHP officer may have been rolling what's called code 3 with lights and sirens on just to get to the pursuit, but now that he
So
found
they were
the car,
605
he
southbound.
figured he can turn them off because perhaps they are still in what's called
They
a
were
surveillance mode, and
about-
he just wants to be able to trail.
They're about 20 minutes from Downey. If they stay on the 605, they can be in Downey in about 15 to 20 minutes. It would go El Monte,
lights as well.
Montebello,
Lights on.
Whittier,
It is now
and then
quite a
Downey,
distance back.
and then Norwalk. All
Eliana,
roads lead to
CHP,
Downey, obviously.
Yeah, quite a distance back. I haven't seen him since they exited the freeway, so let me see. Oh yeah,
Right.
there he is. So still about the same distance. It's the car that's at the bottom of the screen, so I'd say about an eighth of a mile of a distance. So at this point, this driver probably doesn't even recognize.
We're in El Monte now.
Because the distance is great enough to where they just wouldn't know.
And I would assume that CHP has units ready to respond at a moment's notice. Say if the driver does decide to.
All roads lead to Downey, my friends. The 5, the 605, the 710, the 105, the 110.
Within seconds or minutes.
All these freeways will take you to Downey. The 19, the 60,
The police helicopters, of course,
the 164, all of those freeways go through Downey.
That the vehicle is at, so that units in the area are able to
Or at least put you on the verge of it.
Comes to a stop. In this case, we're off the freeway.
wrong
Whoa,
way.
whoa, that's wrong side of the road.
Yeah, wrong side of the road.
All right, now we're turning up here a little bit. Get back onto the right side. There we go. Poking his head out. Yeah, a bunch of cars coming.
Good thing you moved. Oh, but gosh,
wonder if that was a
saying we're in El
confusion
Monte
thing.
now.
That driver was driving in the center divide for some time, and that always makes me nervous when I see cars doing that, and then just moved over to the wrong side of the road. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. That really could have been a close call there, but fortunately was able to move back over right in time. But what I was just about to say was that we're in El Monte now, so that does possibly bring in El Monte police into the
Southbound El Monte.
They may not get actively in the.
She's a long way. Her next major freeway is going to be the 10,
Their jurisdiction,
and that is
so they
we
can
are
be ready,
we are just
to
near.
bounce if the vehicle were
Yeah,
to,
man. I mean, we
so
are
that they can assist,
15 to 15 minutes east of the closure part of the 10 that's made the national news this week. Think of the scene from Speed where it's cut off and they're redoing the bridge and the bus jumps over. That's what, if this person took the 10 westbound, as we almost go head on right there, if he takes a 10 westbound, then there's going to be, the freeway is going to cut off.
This person is from this area or is at least familiar with this area.
If you're rooting for action, root for the 10 westbound.
Looked like they just
And then there's going to be all sorts of like freeway ending signs.
The driver was using the
And they're gonna have to either get off or drive through
in the front.
an unfinished
You know,
freeway.
Eliana, this always makes you nervous too when you see a driver picking up speeds like this on city streets.
Absolutely, and then
Getting real close to the 10 now, people. She's about 3 major streets north and she's going south. She's going to have a huge intersection with the 10 coming up, and if she makes a right-hand turn onto it, it's going to be the 10 westbound. Because eastbound, you have to go underneath because she's headed south. She's going to have to go under and back up.
Look at this. We now have two. Yes.
Now we have ground units in pursuit. Maybe they know that she's headed to the 10. They will undoubtedly pit on the freeway if we go 10 westbound. There's just too much at stake with the repairs on the 10 right now.
Yes, and we have to wonder if it's because of exactly.
Those of you that haven't been watching national news, just going to repeat myself that there is major arson occurred underneath the bridge at the 10 right before downtown Los Angeles. It is shut down. 600,000 total cars, 300 each way, pass over this part of the 10, connects all the major arteries and freeways of Los Angeles. And we are approaching the 10 where she has an opportunity. It's going to be coming up here in a couple of seconds.
I have a feeling that this person will start to drive a little more crazy now that these units are behind.
Units are locked in and engaged, and we are back to reckless driving here, southbound Peck Road, El Monte.
When she had the helicopter only, she was relatively calm. But now look at this running
Through, oh God, that's a solid red light. Thankfully, there's a CHP Dodge Charger blocking off the intersection there.
Already one unit of the El Monte Police Department that was at the intersection with its lights on. So at least
10 freeway interchange coming up right now.
But my concern is
Let's see if she takes it.
She's gonna hit something.
Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God.
Red lights and stop signs in the
Right-hand turn coming up here.
Close are we to any freeways potentially for this driver to get back on a freeway?
We're jumping on one right now.
Yeah, it's 10.
You called it. There you go.
10 westbound?
So jumping on the freeway right now. I believe this is going to be the 605, but I'll confirm
Wait.
As soon as she.
What do we
she
got? What do we got?
completes
What do we
the,
got? What do we
transition
got?
Here, but I believe this is going to be the. It's either going to be the 60 or the 605. I'm a little bit turned around here. Let me throw this on real quick. It's going to actually going to be the 10. I stand corrected. So with all those twists.
10 westbound. I told you.
Count of where we were, but she's actually jumping.
We are 10 westbound. We are headed towards. We are headed towards the unfinished part of the 10. Okay, we are.
the 6
How far?
before, she's been on the 605.
If she stays on the 10, it's 15 to 20 minutes away. She is 15 minutes east of the 10.
Onto the 10 freeway, and she is headed westbound on the 10.
If she made a right, it was going to be west.
I tell you that the 10 freeway is closed.
10 freeway is closed. The scene from Speed is about to happen. We are 15 minutes from the scene from Speed happening in real life, where the bridge just is gone. They're fixing the bridge.
Now she is on the 10 freeway.
Floor it. It's an interchange.
Again, you can tell that it is starting to ramp up, and look at the speeds. That too. Thankfully, traffic not too bad at this point. But
Oh my God, look at all these choppers.
CHP officers behind at this point.
Look at all the choppers, all now pointed westbound on the 10. It is an armada of choppers on all sides of the 10 freeway en route.
Doesn't look that bad. So it looks pretty good.
Of course it looks pretty good. There's no freeway.
Freeway, as far as I can see, and I can see as far as the Fremont curve, and I can tell that everything between here and there looks pretty wide open, like what we're seeing here. And
Okay, so you guys know this is going to be the order of cities before we hit
So those are usually
the 10 freeway closing. It's going to be Rosemead,
You really won't have too much traffic ahead.
Monterey Park,
I mean, I'm just hoping at this point she either just stops or runs out of gas before anyone gets hurt.
what
Yeah,
else,
that's
what else,
always
what else?
The tough part about this. is
Ramona
it's so
Gardens.
critical for the safety of others around this driver, and often there's just no regard for anybody else, as we clearly saw
What else?
earlier in this pursuit.
Lincoln Heights
Absolutely. When we first got over
slash
that,
Boyle
it was
Heights.
such a
Like
big
4
mistake
major cities we have to go through
because
before we get to the
traffic.
broken part of the
This
10.
driver was just trying to evade
But
the
these
police,
helicopters are
and
all in formation.
It actually kind of worked because they had actually terminated the pursuit initially because of some of that erratic driving, but they eventually.
See how the graphic
got
says 10
helicopter
eastbound? It's been
instead,
reverse
and
every
that
time.
helicopter
It's
has
been the
able
wrong
to
way.
follow it this whole time until we just got those 2 units from the CHP behind the vehicle in El Monte.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm wondering why they decided to put the units behind, or maybe they just had the helicopter monitoring until they decided exactly what they wanted to do in this case. Because as you said, it went from very erratic to not so erratic. So they need to have a game plan. So what are the options right now? Just continue to follow this truck. This was a stolen pickup truck. That's the want on it right now. And at some point, reckless driving.
Yeah, correct. Reckless driving, failure to yield, which essentially just means that they didn't stop. And then, of course, what is called the Code 37 in the LAPD. So that's a stolen car. So at this point, you have your regular pursuit intervention tactics like a pit maneuver. Is that possible? At this point, no. Ideally, for a pit maneuver, you want to be driving 35 miles an hour or less. And clearly, this person is not. Maybe if she were to exit onto surface streets and could slow down enough, then that would be an opportunity. But for now, that's out of the question. There's spike strips, though. That's a possibility. They would just have to pretty much guess what lane is she going to be in order to be able to effectively deploy some spike strips in front of the vehicle. At this point, I haven't heard them talking about that as a...
You have to believe that they're going to be setting up spike strips well in advance of the closure point, because they can't have a car go. If this car drove over the broken bridge, it might delay the reopening of the freeway for another week. And this is already creating so much turmoil that it would be borderline catastrophic to things like the economy, people's work days, traffic, commuting, you name it. They will not let this car. I'm even going to give it a 4th star because of because of the proximity to the most fragile part of an LA freeway right now.
When it's safe to rejoin the freeway, move back in. But for now,
Going back to the map. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to balance.
Continue to follow this person at pretty high speeds now. Look at that.
Okay, we are now
almost 95 miles an hour here on the.
going to be passing East Los Angeles College, Maravilla, and we're coming up to Ramona Gardens. Once we get to Ramona Gardens,
That it can be difficult to gauge
once we get to Ramona Gardens,
situation like this.
we are going to be all of
Yeah, absolutely.
5 minutes away from the closure.
Freeway, when there's just a driver that just goes by us at literally like 100 miles an hour, and you're just frozen. Your whole car just.
Always
shakes.
something new, man.
There's nothing you can do.
Every time you watch a chase, you will see something that has never happened before. We are headed to a closed portion of the busiest highway on the West Coast.
These speeds, of course, there's all that stuff in the back too. Who knows if that could go flying? And that could obviously.
We don't even
also
know what
hurt
it
someone.
is. You know, we.
Yeah.
at this point. And at least we can say that with the lights flashing, it's obvious to the other drivers what is happening here. So it gives them a little bit of warning that something is going on. I wanted to say we keep saying she because, Ileana, at some point we got a report that it was a female driver. Do you know how we got that information?
Correct, yeah, I believe that was the initial scanner traffic on this, was that it was a female driver. But of course, the scanner traffic is just as the police officers are seeing it with the naked eye, so there's always the possibility that that could be misinterpreted.
Now, this could all be...
Initially, it was reported as a female driver, but of course, until this comes to an end...
This could all just be a letdown, and it'll just... The person just gets off before the closure point, and then it turns into side street pursuit. But if this person's nuts and just blows through the roadblock...
605 for a good minute. That would be...
I don't know.
For anyone who was in the car to jump out.
Absolutely. Even change drivers.
There's a possibility that happened.
Anything. Yeah, because we were wondering if
Seconds from Ramona Gardens, the 10 freeway is then going to dip down, head south for a brief second, and then we're going to approach downtown Los Angeles. This is the last stand before we start getting into the downtown area.
What happened in that time? It seemed to take, quite a few seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So that you make a great point. It could have been a female driver at some point. What if they switched when they were on the two?
Oh, you don't need to uncancel yourself, guys. Come on.
At that time, it was just the police helicopter overhead, so they had the same vantage point that we did. It was literally impossible to know what was going on under that freeway. Perhaps it was nothing.
Fourth star added for those of you just joining us here. Fourth star added because of the severity of the situation. The driving isn't necessarily a 4-star chase, but we are headed towards the arson portion of the 10 freeway. Is there an echo?
Further to the north of the section that is currently closed in downtown Los Angeles. So this stretch of the 10 freeway that we're at now is the part that is closer to County USC Medical Hospital.
Okay.
So it's actually, even though it is the 10 freeway, it's actually further north than where we have that closure. So hopefully she should be able to avoid that closure altogether, because of course there's all sorts of closures there. There's Caltrans workers, but one thing
Just
that we
hope
are
that she drives
noticing is
past
that there
it.
is
That's
gonna be
all.
some
That's what we're
traffic
rooting for here.
that is of course probably as a result of that freeway closure on the 10. So we'll see what she does when she gets to that slower moving traffic, because we know she does not like to wait in traffic.
No, the driver will do
You
pretty much
hear that?
anything to
Ileana's
avoid
finishing my
being stuck in
sentences.
traffic.
That's why I'm going to stop
We've
talking.
seen them get very antsy when they get boxed in, even for a
Well, she
moment.
obviously has options. The 10 freeway, she's going to be able to hit the 5. She just went by the 5 interchange.
To make any decisions here now to
She would have to
change, but
merge
not seeing
southbound
lane changes
to get to the
as
broken part of
rapidly
it.
As we were seeing before. I mean,
there's 50 different ways that she can go, and we're about to find out right now. This is where we're at.
Some more of this traffic that we've been covering.
here we go.
101.
The 10 freeway closure.
Yeah, you were saying that they
You do not want her to go left. Just no
left.
lefts. A left will take her to the southern portion of the 10, to the broken part of it. If she goes straight or right, stays on this, she'll avoid the bridge. But it is possible. She's in the fucking lane number 0 right now.
Just come at you at 50 miles plus, so that just makes it incredibly dangerous. And of course, slow down here on, it's essentially going to be the transition with the 5, I believe, kind of where the 10 and the 5 come together here in the Boyle Heights area. So we'll see what freeway she ends up getting on. But for now, continuing to drive the center divider there and finally moving back into lanes here. But police, right on her
No other
tail.
choice.
Yeah, and does not like.
Oh, these police are not fucking around anymore, man. They know what's at stake here. If they let this truck drive over that bridge and it were to like collapse.
What's led to a couple of those really close calls that we saw earlier.
Exactly, but CHP, they're staying with her this time around. So what we were seeing before, of course, was the officers pulled off when she was driving this way, but for now, they're sticking with her. So it looks like she may actually exit. So it looks like
God.
we may be exiting here. This might be the first exit here off of the 101, which I believe is Mission. But I'll let you know as soon as she completes.
Okay, so we are getting off to the 101.
Mission.
Yeah, look at all the cars.
101 is going to be, it's going to take her north of downtown. So we're going to avoid the bridge, thankfully.
we're going to continue to follow this right now. As
She's off the freeway. We're on side streets now,
right
people,
on the
but we are
tail
back
of,
engaged
possible
in a side street
spikes
pursuit
that
lit
all
up by
these
red and
lanes
blues
are
here.
coming up now at these slower speeds
We
on
are
these
northeastern part of downtown, like the Arts
all of these
District.
streets are really slow, especially because of that 10 freeway closure. We have seen traffic here in the LA area be incredibly impacted by that closure. So not only is that having an impact on all of the other freeways, but it's also having a big impact on all of the surface streets. So I can guarantee you that if she continues to drive here through the Los Angeles area, we're going to see her get stuck in a lot of traffic.
All right, we're going to get ready for the NBC4 News at 7.
You're not leaving.
With Colleen Williams. She will be here
Thank
to
you.
continue coverage of this police pursuit of a stolen pickup truck that we've been following since Hollenbeck took this over a little while ago. Reckless driving, and now 2 CHP officers right behind the driver, who we understand is a female driver who was wanted at first for reckless driving, but also now for this stolen pickup truck. So we continue now with the NBC4 News at 7 p.m.
Swerving. Not interested in slowing down today. Not tonight. Better stay live. It's going to be silent here for a couple of minutes because they need to transition to the 7 o'clock news. So I'll be here with you. Otherwise, I can prepare the KCAL feed if Eliana's going to lose us. But for now, you just got me. We're definitely off the 101, by the way. We're on 1st Street. It's going to be a shift. Ah! No. No, you didn't. Not this chase. No, you didn't. Not this chase. Don't worry, I got backups, people.
If they're interested.
I can't believe NBC just did that. They're going to lose all their viewers. They were first to the chase, too. That is a cardinal sin. Cardinal sin they just committed. Now we have to go to KCAL. Don't worry, I got you, people. They're going to lose all their viewers. Good job. Hope it was worth it. We are now live with Desmond Shaw, SkyCal, KCAL 9, CBS LA, Los Angeles.
One of the metro stops out here, and but driving southbound actually towards that closure. So that
now we're going back towards the closure, but we're on side streets. We're not on the freeway. We are. Look, that 10, you see the 10 right here? That's where that little blue line is. That's the bridge. That's the broken part. And there are all the helicopters chasing a car going southbound, going down on the screen. We are real close to it.
To the 10 freeway closure, which can cause a very big, dangerous problem here as we inch closer to that.
Chachi, I apologize. I was talking to my excellent pilot, Dylan, who's been monitoring the air traffic on this one. And it sounds like LAPD's not very interested in this one. So it's just kind of been this hot potato situation about, is anyone going to take this? Is anyone interested in trying to stop this suspect? And
we could honestly go, theoretically, I don't know what they... I'm imagining you can't drive under the damn bridge as they're fixing it, but we can drive parallel to it at some point.
On this suspect right here, southbound on Central through 7th Street, maybe because of the really, dense traffic situation down here, they just decided it's a property crime. It's not worth it endangering the public for.
Yeah, but as we see him, the suspect still going now and stopping as traffic is building here and stopping. I wonder where that CHP officer is.
If you look, sorry, Johnson, real quick, Des, if you can pan up just a touch, he is right behind an LAPD officer.
Got you, yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is Central LAPD.
Had to check on Skip. Skip's barking.
Yeah, kind of an
Barking
awkward
at something in the backyard.
And the light turned green, but they're still sitting there.
Yeah.
I think.
So,
now,
right as I walk back up, this person got off the...
door
You see a
opening.
door
Doors ajar! Ejectocito!
Oh, this
Now
is-
what?
we got multiple doors.
Ah!
We've got multiple people.
There's a clown car! How many doors are in this freaking Dodge Charger?
There are multiple people.
Look at all these people! Get out of the way, pursuit tree!
Once again, another one of those pursuit trees.
Now
hitting
The pursuit tree, Desmond!
out of the vehicle and running.
We're running!
Central and Olympic. So very rudely, just parking the vehicle. Looks like 2 people.
We have a foot bail.
2 people here and a dog as well.
A dog!
2
Yes,
people
I see
and a
the
dog
dog,
that
yeah.
were inside. These are the 2 people that we saw.
They have a Dodge!
So
2 Dogies!
1 canine passenger.
More pursuit trees!
in that one. I think they might have gotten spooked by the LAPD officer.
They pulled
They're
up on an
out
LAPD
foot.
that was not even engaged in the
Unfortunately for us,
chase.
There's just happens to be a lot of
And it
trees.
probably like, oh, we got to
This
get
is
out
one
of
The
here.
only areas of downtown where there's trees at, of course.
Of course.
We're trying to cover this
People
off.
always find the fucking pursuit trees.
We will back off a bit and see if we can see them, but this is.
Yeah, their next
last
move is
place
going to
that
be
I'd
interesting
say, here we
here.
go.
Yeah.
Yep.
as
Oh,
we
just
watch
out for a
these
night
suspects
stroll
and
with the dog.
Just
Me?
abandoned the truck
Me?
over off of the.
What did I do?
The road.
I'm out here just walking my dog.
It's going to be interesting to see.
Trying to
how
blend in
they
plain sight.
Looks like they're just trying to fit in with people who are walking up.
I don't think they should blast them with the night sun, but there are helicopters everywhere. They have to know they're still being chased. But no night sun, they may think they're getting away.
Seems like now only
Just out for a little casual stroll.
It's kind of dark
After all that.
Do you see the other person who got out of the truck as well?
I think that's the other person up ahead. I think they're just trying to act like they don't know each other. And they're
Gotcha,
just out
yeah.
for a
Just go, yeah,
a nice
we're just
little,
walking our dogs.
Stroll
With the
out
dog.
here in the LAPD sun. But here we go.
Here we
Oh, here they come.
I mean, I think you saw the helicopter.
Now what?
Going through our shot, and so the helicopter.
They're right there.
What's going on? And let's see
You
what
see
they're
the
going to do.
CHP just passed the
Those
first
CHP
guy with
units
the
are right
suspect.
here.
With the dog.
Yeah.
I wonder if
yes,
they know now that
they're-
that those are the suspects, or
Are they, those,
they
were
just
those,
passed the first guy
Wait.
who had the dog who was just.
where did those cops go with the lights on?
Here we go.
Now they turn around.
Now they're turning around.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll see if we can move to the other side of the semi truck here. They might be kind of. They might. Yeah, I think they're trying to kind of hide behind the semi, but I'm hearing CHP
These people,
from the
man.
air. They can
Oh.
see these guys.
Yeah.
Now they found them.
Now they're
rolling up on them. Zoom out, Desmond. You might get,
They're gonna park probably on both sides of the semi. I think that's the person right in there, kind of between the tree and the semi. Unfortunately, I don't think. Yeah, there they go.
Yep.
they're
I
running.
think they're going to be running down. See if they come out on the other side of these. Yeah, there we
Ah,
go.
they're running.
There's one of them.
There he goes.
Where's the dog?
Where's
I don't
the
know if they
dog?
just
No dojis.
What?
Someone stayed behind with the dojis on fight. We got a foot pursuit. Being chased down by the LAPD officer. He is running after him in the street. Here he comes. He's closing. He's closing fast. Takedown. Boom. Dropped him.
Right in the middle of the street.
Right in the middle of traffic.
And
And Mike,
just tied
is
the
he
dog
the
up
one
or
who had the
something.
dog? Because I don't see. I don't
Clearly didn't have the fucking dog.
the street.
Dog is back behind the semi.
That was a woman, I believe, that they just took down. And yeah, I think the dog may still be behind the semi, but that other person, Des, is still missing too. So I don't know, maybe they did a dog swap, but I don't know where that other person went with the dog. You had these two CHP units who now are up the street by the bus. So, hopefully they'll get some LAPD. I mean, that LAPD Central unit was right there. Too bad there's no.
This person dumped the dog to the
unit that can come help and find the other person and the dog, but this
To
person
the-
got taken down in the middle of the street here.
And Desmond, we were talking about
Here,
this
take the
at
dog. I gotta go.
suspects were, separating one with the dog and the other one was ahead. So I wonder if that suspect just kept going, because this is a suspect that took that dog and tried to hide behind that 18-wheeler, in which CHP was able to corner that, and then that's when he took the run, and they were able to catch the suspect right here.
Chief
which,
of Staff
like you
MS
said, yeah,
dropping
looks
10
like a
tier
woman
1
and
subs
arrested
into the
right
chat
there
here
in the
at the
street.
Yeah, real quick,
code
it looks like
4.
The dog is back over by the semi.
Okay, we're gonna get a dog update here. W's in the chat for, that's the second time tonight,
Everywhere,
Chief of Staff MS
from where we
has hooked up a
were.
bunch of you
I always hate
in the
when
chat with a
somebody's
free
dogs
subscription.
Let's circle around.
Those are money, because you don't have to worry about damn pursuit trees and ads.
That one last week.
Look at all these
I
pursuit
know
trees.
We're always we're just so concerned about the dog. We're just doing an orbit
She got
around the
hunted.
semi, trying to get these trees out of the way, and see if we can see the dog on the other side here. Maybe they tied him up to the fence or something right here.
Staff MS done it 3 times. My apologies. Shout out to you, Staff
Okay,
of
I'm just
MS,
listening
whoever
to the-
you are.
They were. I think they were saying that person was a passenger. West. Okay. Yeah, I think
Got
we're
my
still
dog
looking for
barking
the
in the
person.
front room like crazy, probably watching this
Maybe
chase on its
walking
iPad.
Back westbound here on Olympic.
That's why Skip's going nuts.
And we want to go
Skip
back to
is
that
probably
tape
watching. I had the
after
chase
that
on in the other
with
room.
dog
Probably
trying to
going nuts seeing the dog there.
the truck, the 18-wheeler
Look at this.
there, and
Like,
then the CHP
looked back like maybe I got rid of him.
that truck, and that's when
What was that
suspect,
look back for?
Took a run for it right in the middle of the street. This is as cars was
Yeah,
going.
4's in the
We
chat,
just saw that
please. We are
takedown
code 4
once
on
again.
this.
It happened right here in the middle of the street. You see there the officers chasing after that suspect.
Skip was like, go, 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 dog, go.
Is this the other suspect here?
Dang it!
I don't think so.
I
No.
can't tell.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the same suspect. But I heard him say walking westbound away from the semi, and the way that the helicopter was going, it sounds like they still don't have that other person.
Oh, man.
So
Yeah.
still waiting confirmation that they got the other person in custody.
Yeah. If you're just joining us, we are
Wesley
at the
Snipes,
end
it's
of
because
a,
it's the
police
46th
pursuit of
season.
a stolen truck. We had two suspects.
what they have on the
that were
website.
Inside of that
All right,
stolen
people.
truck. They ended up ditching the truck and making a run for it. And we have that video of the takedown.
We're not code 4?
One of the suspects with the
What do you mean
dog
we're not code
hiding
4?
behind a semi truck, and then CHP they were able to corner that truck in and get behind that suspect. The suspect took off, running right here in the middle of the street, and was taken down here in the middle of the street.
Driver got away? What do you mean driver got away?
One suspect still on the loose. We know that was ahead of that other suspect who had the dog and tried to hide behind the truck. So now I guess the search is on for that second suspect.
We are not code 4. I retract my code 4. I'm
There
sorry.
we go. Here they are.
Ah!
Yeah, there's the dog.
We believe
There's
this.
the
dog.
There's the dog. Okay.
They found him!
Finally found him here. They're talking about it.
They blended in
They
the
see
plain
it
sight.
from the air.
We are not code 4. Take your 4s out of the chat. Delete your 4s.
In a moment, yeah, on the phone here. So they try to
Thinking they got away.
behind the semi to give the dog off to another person or to the other person involved. So it should just be a matter of time. We'll keep eyes on this person, but they can see him from the air. They're going to be guiding units in here. And,
She doesn't know she's about to get the
hopefully
rain of Armageddon descending upon her in a matter of
It
minutes.
seems like they were just trying to fit in with the folks around there, walking on the side, taking the dog for a stroll until CHP finally spotted them here in that location.
Yeah, and they probably would have gotten away with it if they had gotten into the little bit busier part of downtown where the buildings are taller.
Yes, true.
Unfortunately for them,
You
I think
gotta
they
use
probably
those
mistake
buildings
here.
as a
They were
screen.
in an area where the helicopter was still able to keep eyes on them. So even though there was no ground units there, of
course she's calling someone to pick her up.
And that's kind of what their demise was. That's how they got the one suspect.
That's not at Denny's, that's McDonald's,
Knows
thankfully.
what the second suspect is in the dog.
Oh, look at her
And
looking
the
back at
some
around.
flashing lights there. Are they getting close to the parking lot here?
Go back to live. Go back to live.
Yeah,
It's-
so this looks
Yeah,
like the
they're-
entrance.
they're coming.
Yeah.
Ah, I see red and blues now.
Maybe coming
They're going to be pulling in here in a second.
should be coming in. I think everyone's
And
kind of
that's
stuck in some
LAPD.
traffic around here, but they're guiding.
They're shutting down the intersection.
Here, I think that they're going to want to try to seal both of the exits here on both Central and Olympic before they approach the suspect.
You can see the red and blues reflecting off the side of the road. She's walking the dog up to the other end of the parking lot.
That video from when they just suddenly ditched the truck here on the side of the road, and then both of those suspects jumping out of the truck, one with the dog, and then they made a run for it and just.
Who's this person approaching?
Literally tried to fit in. One person just walking the dog down the sidewalk. Several people outside. There's a business now that they're at this McDonald's. A lot of other folks just standing around.
KCal, I
And
swear
then
to
they tried
fucking God,
separate,
if
but
you
the
don't
suspect
get out of this
ended
2 box,
up trying to hide behind
go
an 18-year-old.
max screen.
That's when CHP came in and closed it off.
The fuck?
They were able to get that suspect, and who also took.
I'm gonna switch.
Running into the street while cars were there, and then they ended up taking that suspect down. And here
Now
they
you're
were
donezo.
approaching that second suspect, who now has the dog.
That's a big doge. Oh my God, that's such a
Here we
big
go
dog.
now, CHP.
That's a giant pit
Exchanging
bull.
Some words here, sitting down on the curb, and just always kind of a touchy situation with the dog. And so we'll see.
Oh, it's a
how
big
they
boy.
Handle this one. You know, with the pursuit we had last Friday that we covered in Santa Paula, that it ended up being kind of an odd situation with the dog that was involved in that. And they were able to get the dog back in the car until animal control could come there and help. But now they don't have a vehicle. You know,
Yeah, the dog doesn't know
for-
what's
to
going
put-
on.
To put that dog in, let's say go back to that stolen vehicle. But so let's see how they handle this one. Hopefully she cooperates. Hopefully they have a couple of treats in their
she's
pocket
not going
for this,
anywhere.
Poor pooch that just got involved, has no idea what's going on
That's a
here.
big
Here come
boy.
the strangers.
Huh?
And, no, the suspect
Huh?
is not.
We're just walking away.
Who got the awning coming up here, Dylan?
That was the situation last
They
week,
go
Des.
west,
Remember,
west,
they had
west.
to bring in the suspect after the suspect was in cuffs. They had to walk the suspect back to their own car to try to get the dog to get in it. And, I was watching that video back. The suspect was not really compliant during all of that either.
It's a drive-through.
You always feel bad for these dogs in this situation. And now you've got this woman. At least the guy on the Santa Paula chase gave up eventually. This woman doesn't seem to want to do that.
She might have gotten
And
instruction to move away from the busy part of the parking lot.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
we're
think
standing
maybe
up.
She just wanted to tie the dog up to the post or something. So
Yes.
actually, I think
Get away
she
from
is
the
complying.
where all the cars are coming
She's
in.
complying. And it seemed like earlier.
Put the
Mike,
dog on the
it
pole.
may have-
Animal
she
control,
wasn't
come get the
Really
dog,
running.
and
She
the dog
was
will
just
be
kind
fine.
of just walking with the dog and acting like she was
Not
not
almost
part of
code 4.
this.
We're not code 4. I did
People
premature
outside
code
of
4
McDonald's,
already. I can't
the
do
other
code 4
people
again
clearly
unless
knew
it's
what was
actually
going
code
on. They
4.
were looking at all the police cars, all the activity, and unbeknownst
Now
to them,
the suspects
suspect in
are
this was actually
in custody.
standing right next to them. I mean, you think of pursuit suspects, you generally don't think they have a dog.
Yeah,
with them,
that was
but
the proper way to
that's on
handle-
this person.
handle
At least
this
the
one.
dog is up against the pole here.
Yeah, and it looks to be a friendly pooch here, laying down. Doesn't seem to be too alarmed by
Dog's
by
chilling.
officers here. So, actually, yeah, I mean, seems like a pretty chill dog. So hopefully,
Dog's
it
just
won't
like,
have any problems with animal control on
I guess
this
I'll see
one.
you later.
But, boy, it took quite some time to get them both in custody. Kind of awkward there with the semi and the trees and guiding all the authorities in, but we finally have a safe ending to this.
Okay.
Two suspects in custody.
Ugh.
Very lengthy stolen vehicle
56
pursuit and
minutes
here on the edge of downtown
into this
LA,
chase that involved
Central and Olympic.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for
the
your
fragile
comments
portion
there.
of the 10
Scott
freeway.
Caldes,
We are
and thank you.
officially
This all
code
ending
4.
with both of those suspects inside of that
Suspects
stolen
in
car,
custody.
according to police,
Dog-
now in police custody.
dog's
Of course,
just
we'll have
chilling,
more on
waiting to
this
be
on
picked
later
up.
editions of KCAL News. Thank you for staying
And
with
it's right
us.
next to a
Have
McDonald's.
great
Maybe it'll get
evening.
some food while it waits. But until next time, my friends. Whew, that was a spicy one. 4-star chase has come to a close.